Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to 10-Minute Mailbag. We took a little week off last week because I had some stuff going on, but we are back. I hope you enjoyed the video that was up there in the meantime. I appreciate the support, but we are back answering your questions in 10 minutes. In case you couldn't guess it, this series is all about answering my subscribers and viewers' YouTube questions, actually in some depth. It's hard to answer them in the comment section sometimes, or if I do answer them, I feel like I could always give more. So this is your opportunity to ask the questions that you would like answered about MLB The Show 23 or MLB The Show in general, and maybe you'll get it answered on this show. Just a quick PSA for everybody before we jump in. I now have a Kick account. I am not moving to Kick yet. I don't know if or even when that might happen, but I secured my username. And just in case I do go to Kick, it would be a full-time type of thing. I would not do a little bit of Kick, a little bit of Twitch. It would be Kick and only Kick. Right now, it's Twitch and only Twitch. I'm not trying to divide you guys. But just in case, go follow me. Kick.com/kdjTV. It might be nothing, it might be something, but at least you'll be prepared. All right, let's go get to them questions. I got my phone ready for the timer. We got 10 minutes on the clock. And we begin in 3. Oh, little change up there. Oh, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Our first question comes from CJ, friend of the channel. Should they release less content for day one on each new set, but have it more spread out? Or should they just make it faster to complete? Love the amount of content for a new set or season. However, I'm feeling a bit burnt out at the amount of grinding and how long it takes. It's a sentiment that a lot of people are feeling. There is definitely some burnout with the content structure. I ultimately still think sets and seasons is the way, and I'm actually going to talk about that more in Tuesday's podcast, so make sure you guys come back and check that out. I do think sets and seasons is still the way. I just think they haven't figured the content structure out yet. But to your point, on day one of every new season, or set, rather, you get 6 new divisions of Team Affinity, which is a ton of stuff to do. Inside of that is missions, moments, player missions. You can do showdowns, there's exchanges, there's conquests, there's March to October. Nobody does that. A new mini season. There's a lot. There's like at least 3 new conquest maps, sometimes 4. Plus, not to mention the Tops Now that drops that day, because inevitably it happens on a big content drop day. Maybe even another program that drops out. It's a lot. Is it too much? Maybe. Part of the reason I enjoy the sets and seasons structure, this might just be me who feels this. If you agree, let me know. It makes every almost 2 months, a little less than 2 months, feel like a new launch day. I kind of like that. Launch day is one of my favorite days of the year. It is for a lot of people. And yeah, of course, it's a diet version of a launch day because you do still have all the cards from the previous set that you can use. But I like devoting the night to, all right, we're going to grind the hell out of whatever new content is coming out. I do think there are inherent issues with keeping up the pace. And I don't mean the pace of dropping content. I mean the pace of quality content. There is significant, just underwhelmingness, which is not a word, but it is today, that comes with the way they're doing content. Because they drop heat on day one, and then the first week, maybe 10 days. And then, like we've seen in set 2, there's just 3 weeks of utter horseshit. Just complete and utter horseshit that is useless and stupid. And honestly, it's not. You could argue it's a waste of time. The way they've set it up, it's not technically a waste of time. But it is demeaning to the player base. It's awful. So I'm not a fan of the last 3 weeks of content. Again, we'll talk about this more in depth in Tuesday's podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. But I don't know if releasing less content day one is the answer. I just think putting in effort through the rest of the season and set is the better way to make the grind either seem meaningful or to actually entice people to play the game. So CJ, thank you for your question as always. Next up, we have Scotty, friend of the show. Scott, if you lose a ranked game, solo or co-op, should it take 2 to 3 wins to make up for lost points, or should there be a more uniform point plus or minus changeover from game to game? I have long been confused by how the point system works in ranked. I don't think the information is readily available, and I'm pretty sure no one actually knows how many points they're going to get. There is surely some sort of mathematical formula that has to do with your ratings modification, which is a stupid thing that should go away. plus your record, plus your rating, and it all comes together to spit out, oh, you gained 17 points for this game, or oh, you lost 26. There are definitely, intricacies that come with any sort of ranking system. Because, let's put it on the rank screen here. So, I'm 45-14, and I'm 734. In a simple way, if I matched up with somebody rated 760, let's say 760, if I beat them, there's a 26-point difference. Maybe I get 26 points. But the reason that doesn't work is because if I match up with somebody who's my same rating, and we play a hell game, and then we end the game and nobody loses or gains points, we have a problem. So I think there should be some sort of way where the closer... I don't even know. This is me spitballing. I thought about this, and I still don't know. This is a really interesting question. I do think there needs to be more uniformity. I wish I was smart enough to figure out what it is. Or I wish the formula was showcased, and I knew what I was getting. Maybe, like... I don't know, because... You want to reward yourself for beating a player near your ranking, and you want to reward yourself for beating a player significantly, quote-unquote, better than you, or higher ranked than you. But, like, you don't deserve 25 points for beating the piss out of someone who's light years below your ranking. So, I wish the algorithm, or whatever they use, was abundantly clear. I wish someone could start doing math on how it works. I am not the mathematician. That would be, I don't even know who the mathematician would be. Scan does a lot of research. Hey, Scan, buddy, start digging into this. I would love to find out more about this. I'm not saying I will make it my mission, but I will do some digging. I wonder if there's a way to do it, like, based upon what tier you're in. If you're regular season, all-star, pennant race, wildcard division, etc. And maybe like, all right, if you're in this tier, you win a game, you get 25 points. And the higher rank you get, the fewer points you get, or something like that. I don't know. I do think, just in its totality, ranked seasons needs a refresh, or ranked needs a refresh. Both in terms of what it means to make World Series, what it means to gain points or lose rating points. I just think the whole thing needs a refresh. We've talked about this before, and in the lead up to 23, and it still didn't change. So, unfortunately, that is that. Scotty, I realize I did not answer your question, but it is a good question. If anybody has thoughts on this one, this is the type of one I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. Of course, leave questions in the comments, but if you have feedback for this specific question, let me know. Next up, hand sanitizer. Our friend, our king, hand sanitizer. Do you have a video on how to do minor movements of the PCI if I don't hold the stick in the claw method, which for those who don't know, is holding it flat and doing it like this, as opposed to just using your thumb, it's doing it this way. I jam a lot. Okay, so there were a lot of comments underneath this specific question, and I appreciate you guys all going back and forth like human beings. Truly, like literally there was like a string of almost 30 comments of people just replying back and forth being helpful. So thank you for not being sons of bitches. So I don't have a video on it, but what I can do is show you conceptually in practice mode, wherever the hell that is. Okay, I don't even care what's going on in terms of teams or anything. Let's just go into practice mode. So what I do, if you guys have ever noticed, I know I don't post a lot of gameplay specifically hitting, so maybe you guys haven't noticed, but what I do is I always begin by moving the PCI around. I think this loosens the thumb up. I think it gets me moving. I just think it's nice, and visually it gets me zoned in and ready to hit. And then when I settle where I want to hit the ball. So if I'm looking for a pitch inside and middle, that is where I'm setting up my PCI. Of course, I'm moving it. I'm not anchoring it here. I'm just kind of holding it here. So first of all, I'm being selective when I swing. That helps you with jamming your PCI and moving too much. But I feel like this type of movement here, it lets me just... I don't know why I missed that. Was it rookie mode? It's a changeup? I don't know. Whatever. I just think it lets me adjust better. And I think it lets me not move as drastically. So let's just say we start in the middle. There's 4 ways I gotta move now, because it's very unlikely that an online player is just dumping one in the middle of the zone. So let's eliminate at least like a third of the plate. Like, if I'm sitting low and in, I am eliminating this box and below it. I'm just ready. I'm sitting here. I'm like, all right, if the sinker or the fastball comes there, I'm hitting it. And of course, Aaron Nola is not throwing it. So let's fix that. How do I even do that? How do you use custom practice? I don't use custom practice. Practice type, batting, game control. All right, we're wasting time. I don't know. But by sitting here, I'm also not pinned on either spot. I'm pinned, or I'm sitting rather, in the middle of the plate. I like staying middle. I very rarely will sit down here. Very rarely. Because it sucks to go up. You're going to pop up everything. Now, to play devil's advocate, it is sometimes okay to sit up and in. Sitting up and in, you will get beaten by that. That was a good sinker, but, point still stands. You can get beaten by that. So if you sit up here, it's easier to adjust low than it is to adjust high. I don't know why. I just think visually it's easier to move low. It must be on rookie if I'm this far in front. Regardless. If you do some of those tips, and I know it's not perfect, but if you do some of these tips, it'll help with, like, the drastic, sharp movements. Like, look how sharp. That's not good. We don't want sharp. The way Ochev describes it is, think of the PCI not as the bat, but as a glove. Think about catching the ball. I see that. What he's getting at is be soft. Be deliberate, but soft. I try to be as cognizant as possible of not pinning. Of course, if my opponent is pinning pitches, I will do that. The other thing I recommend, and we've talked about this before, is finding the control freak that works for you. I have found that the Galaxy mid-rise is the one that works for me. That gives me ultimate control of where I'm moving my PCI. It's both fluid, but I can stop it wherever I need to because of the grip. So it works for me. For some people, it might be the different type. For others, I'm way over. I'm way over. I'm way over. But regardless, find the one that works for you. Get a little active in the zone before you start swinging, and just pick a pitch out. It'll work better that way. And that'll do it for this one, guys. I tried to actually explain visually this time. Wasted a lot of time. We live and learn. But I hope it answered questions. I look forward to discourse about the ranked seasons question, because I think that is extremely interesting. I think most of us can agree that ranked needs a reset. With each passing year, I have played less and less ranked seasons, especially as I've gotten better at the game. It's just not fun. There's no reward. It's not a true ranked mode because people quit out and don't actually care about their rating. They just care about innings and missions and completing the program. I'm not a true try-hard competitive, but a true ranked mode that had rankings that make sense would probably be welcome in the community. And that'll do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for being here. As always, make sure you check back to the channel the rest of the week for more content. Subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you in the next one.